everybody, this is the Wikstrand. So, the late 90s, early 2000s, Hollywood opened the floodgates and an absolute avalanche of movies aimed for teenagers came out, especially with a modest budget that would hopefully make a good profit at the box office, and that was often the case. There were, teen dramas, there were, teen slashers, and they were the teen comedies and the high school comedies. And one of the most successful ones was probably Bring It On, which was probably the reasons why they felt the day necessary to make 5 fucking sequels to the damn thing. But how good is the original Bring It On? Well, let's find out together. This is Bring It On. Kirsten Dunst plays Torrance. She's the newly selected captain for the cheerleading team, and she takes this position very seriously because she wants to, continue their winning ways so they can become 5 times champions. And she puts, the other cheerleaders through this rigorous training program so they will be ready when it is time for the, big finale in Florida. But then she finds out, approximately at the same time that, she introduces this new girl to the team, that the team's success is a lie. They have been stealing the routines, that she was, going to use from an inner city high school in Compton, where Isis, aka Gabrielle Union, is the team captain. So she realizes that she's gonna have to start again from scratch. Will they be ready for the finals? Can they win? Can they maintain, the spirit of the team? Will she dump her douchey boyfriend? Maybe there is, some other hot guy lurking around, to, fall in love with her or whatever. We shall see. Now, I will say this about Bring It On. I always like when movies have a very specific thing that is the most important thing in the entire world. You can, look at the movie as Premium Rush, where everything is about bicycles and bicycling messaging. You can take a look at the movie like Glengarry Glen Ross, where they're trying to sell, properties and stuff like that, or, Brassed Off, where everything is about, brass instruments and stuff like that. If you do something very specific and you aim everything towards it, it will almost feel like you're stepping into a different world, an alternate reality where small things that you didn't know about is the most important thing ever. And I think that Bring It On nailed that thing down absolutely perfectly. One thing that this movie, however, failed to do was coming up with enough plot to fill the 98 minutes that this movie goes on for. There is a lot of stretching, there is a lot of padding in this movie to get this thing to the finish line. And one thing I was really annoyed by is the fact that they had one thing that they could have done which would have made so much sense and would have been such a heartfelt moment. It would have been such a feel-good moment, and they just decided not to do that and complicate things. There is a similar thing that happened actually in the movie Brassed Off, where they did this thing and I thought it was excellent. When they didn't do that in this movie, but they had open goals to do it, I was like, but why? It's right there, you guys. What this movie lacked in, story or plot, it made up for big time when it came to the energy and the fact that the heart is in the right place for this movie. It's not an accident that, Peyton Reed, who directed this movie, later would direct the Ant-Man movies. And I will say that the lunatic choreographer that they bring in to train the team is absolutely hilarious, downright the coolest character and the most awesome character in the entire movie. He was absolutely hilarious, channeling his inner R. Lee Ermey, in his effort to bring the team up to speed and stuff like that. That was hilarious. And sure, there are some cringy, cheesy, corny moments in this movie, and the interactions between this school and the Compton school should have been more of the focus of the movie, but they didn't do that, and we have to accept the fact. But Bring It On is a friendly, decently entertaining high school comedy with a lot of positive energy to itself, and if you like that sort of stuff, unlike me, you're probably going to think that this movie is far less superior to what I think of this movie. But I think that this was better than I expected it to be. I thought that this was going to be a lot more cliches and a lot less comedy than what it was, but for some parts of this movie I actually thought that the comedy worked quite well. Sometimes it did not, and the movie is a little bit too long for its own plot, but it was an okay movie, but it didn't make me interesting or anything to see any of the sequels. But I think that the first one is pretty damn decent. Bring It On is about as late 90s, early 2000s that you can get. The soundtrack, the editing, the angles, everything, including the humor, is about as archetypical as you can get when it comes to these types of movies. I give this movie 38 points. It's a decent comedy where you get the feeling that the actors really like performing in this movie, and that always brings a good energy to the final product. And yeah, it's totally decent. So I'll see you next time for Well So and So reviewing, well, such and such. Thank you for watching. Thank you very much.